Hello, I'm Matt Heuser, your instructor for IT145 at Southern New Hampshire University. On the screen, you can see the main page for IT145. In this video, I just want to talk about week one, sort of get your feet grounded so you know where to go and what to do. Hopefully, I'll be doing follow-ups to go into more detail. About this course. So, if you've ever written code in Java and you have used Eclipse, the integrated development environment, you should be fine for several weeks. We're going to have to learn a few new tools, but it should be pretty straightforward. If you have coded in Python, you'll be fine. It's going to be a whole new syntax. You're going to have maybe a little more of a learning experience, which is going to be positive because it's something different instead of more of the same. But it'll be easy enough. If you never coded at all in any language, you may want to email me and we'll figure it out. This course is going to start at the beginning and go pretty fast if you really don't have that core foundation. You might want to take IT 140 first. But if you've got the time to put into it, everything you need is going to be right here. I'll be here along the way. Like I say, it's going to be self-paced, but we'll have these periodic markers where homework assignments are due to make sure that you don't fall behind. I'll be here to get you unstuck. And I view these videos and my course announcements as sort of preventive maintenance to get the common questions out of the way. So let's talk about it. This is the course menu, the main home of the course. I'm going to click on the menu and then learning modules right now, and that's going to bring us to the listing of all 8 weeks of assignments. Here we go. And then of course we'll click on week 1 to get to module 1, which came up anyway because we're in week 1. And what we can see here is there is an introduction, there's a list of resources, there are some setup tasks. A couple things we're going to want to do this week. You're going to want to get into zyBooks. It's just a weekly paced read, take a written test, read, take a written test, read, take a little written test. And then you'll be able to actually construct code and run it inside of zyBooks to see what it does. We're not going to turn any of that in this week. We're not going to turn any code in this week. It's all familiarization. We have to make one discussion post this week. Introduction to the coding community. That's us. We're the coding community. And I want to talk about the discussion posts. Most of them are going to be due on a Thursday. And then you'll have a couple of days till Sunday to do 2 replies. Minimum of 2 replies for full credit. You can do your initial post earlier. You can do your replies earlier. There's a common technique to kind of wait until Sunday afternoon to do your replies so you can look at all of the initial posts and reply to the one that resonates with you the most. And that's fine. It makes my grading a little harder. It takes a little more time to grade, and it sets you up to be kind of late in the semester. As the assignments get harder, you don't want to start doing the assignments on Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock if it's due at midnight Eastern. I think most of them are due in midnight Eastern time zone. If you're West Coast and you turn in a little later, we can figure it out. I'm not overly worried about to the minute. And I think you'll find that my grading is fair. For every assignment, there's going to be a discussion rubric. I just clicked on discussion rubric. It's going to tell you about your posts. They're usually a little optimistic. It's difficult to get the exemplary score here and just write 1 paragraph. Typically, there'll be a bunch of questions. The right level of detail is usually at least 3 sentences for every question. And that's a significant amount of detail. You don't have to kill yourself on this. Excuse my language. You don't have to burn yourself out. But I do expect a real contribution, a real investment of your time. So we'll go back to module 1 here. And we did our discussion. You do our zyBooks, which you just click and read through and There's multiple choice to make sure you're following along. You go through it. It'll be tempting to just go to the multiple choice and just answer. You can figure it out. You might even get away with it in week 1, week 2, week 3. Eventually, you're going to be using code concepts explained in the iBooks. And if you don't really understand it, you'll spend a lot of time spinning your wheels. So I'd encourage you to read the whole thing. If there's a code snippet example, follow along, type it in yourself. Don't just cut and paste. And then you have lab activities that you'll actually do in the lab inside of iBooks. And I'm if there's questions, I may do a video showing you how to do that. Now, we're not going to have any project work. You're not going to write any code. The iBooks labs I think they're ungraded this week. It's just to familiarize yourself. You want to review project 1, and then you want to turn in. So for an assignment, we're going to have 3 pieces: the pseudocode, the flowchart, and the code. I'm going to show you all of those pieces. So if you go to menu and you go to announcements, we go to my week 1 announcement. Whoa. We go to your view of my week 1 announcement. How about that? And I talk about some of the same ideas. I just wanted to get a video because some people are more comfortable with videos. It's just a different way of learning. So there's a difference between pseudocode and code. I think I've got an example in here. And objects in the UML. So this is an example of the uniform modeling language, which is a way. So there's so much here. With Java, everything is modeled as what we call an object. Objects mix behavior and data. So you might have the examples that start out are pretty simple. An employee has a social security number and a date of birth and a pay grade and a salary range, and those are associated. So you might have a little function to calculate pay that looks at their number, their salary, and then the month or the pay grade, and goes through and calculates, gives you for a period of time. So you can access the data through these more higher level abstract methods. That'll become important. So typically in the class you'll be given a UML diagram and then say derive the code for it, for an object for it. For project 1, we're going to start with, you're going to make a flow chart. Lucid Chart is free. I've got a link to how to sign up and create an account. You can take a couple images at a time, which we only need to do a couple images at a time for the free version. I also like Glyphy. I pay something like $10 a year for it. It's another option. This is designed in Lucid Chart. You just drag and drop. Start and stop are the ovals, and then the steps are the squares, and the decision is a diamond. And you can say, so you're going to say, type in your name, hello name, and you type in Matt. It's a good name and it goes forward. But if you hit enter and don't type in a name at all, it's going to have an error message and go back to input. The pseudocode for that looks like this. And pseudocode is very, very high level, close to English. What's the software going to do? If you make a typo, if you don't capitalize something, if you forget a semicolon, it doesn't matter in pseudocode because a human is reading it. You're not giving it to a computer to execute. And then I went ahead and I wrote the program that actually implements that. That's in the announcement this week. So for this week, you're going to do the iBooks. You're going to make a discussion post. You're going to turn in a flowchart and pseudocode for project 1. So you can see it going from visual, high-level, conceptual, the flowchart, to text with the pseudocode, and then later for project 1, we're going to actually write the code. So, any questions for me, send me an email or talk to me on the discussion posts. Use the general announcements for broad, general questions. And I'll be seeing you soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.